I'ma need safety. Tell her I can't snake me. Ray gun off safety. My girl so tasty.
Hi guys, welcome back to Chitts Giggles podcast with your host Yasmeen Chanel, and we have a very special guest today. As you see, you probably have seen her on my page before, heard me talk about her. My lovely, my favorite best friend, Abigail Martin.
Hey, I got Abigail.
Oh, okay. Abby. You know you in trouble when somebody call you by your full name.
The whole name.
Okay, I'm gonna call, but I know you as Abby. They have to call you Abigail Martin.
Do they? These are friends.
Can they call you Abby?
They can call me what I like. Abby, Abigail, whatever.
I call her Abby. You address her as Miss Martin. Okay?
Miss Martin.
Miss Martin. Yes.
Mature.
Hi, bestie.
Hi.
I'm so excited you are here.
I'm excited
First
to
of all,
be here.
Let me tell y'all need to get a friend like Abby because baby girl flew here yesterday after working a full day to come and record.
Had to come.
To Houston.
You asked me. I'm here.
Sure did, child. I'm so happy though. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah?
I'm excited.
You are?
I'm excited. You know why I'm excited though?
Why?
Because I had to give you your flowers before we start.
Gosh.
Because I remember when you was talking about this and it was in the baby stages, and to see it now here, Yasmeen is like one of the friends that she's going to do what she says she's going to do. So I'm proud of you, friend.
Thank you.
And I'm excited to be here.
Woo! We have some good stuff for today. So, I can't even talk. So I didn't even start drinking again. I can't even talk. I'm like, we got some good stuff.
You smell
a mess. I know. A freaking mess. Anyway, we have some good stuff that we're talking about today.
Yes.
We are talking about millennials, more in particular, Black millennials and Black millennials' relationship with God.
Yeah.
And what that looks like today. How did it become broken some way? Because, we already know our elders and our parents, our grandparents, great-grandparents, their relationship with church and God is just a lot different than what our relationship looks like with God.
Sure.
And Generation Z, which is generations, younger than us. So we'll be talking about that today, and Abby's a perfect person to talk about that with. And we'll get into why. But before we get into that topic, and do not judge us, first of all, yes, we are drinking alcohol and Hennessy and talking about God.
It's balance. It's all about balance.
Right. And, we the new generation that love God but still drink Hennessy and smoke hookah, okay? So we're going to take a toast.
Toast. Cheers.
Cheers. What are we toasting to? To God.
To God. Growth.
2023.
I was scared of your toast.
So one day,
I was going to let you live, but you brought it.
Let's tell them one day.
You got to.
Where were we? Oh yes. Okay, hold on.
Where were we? We were.
Oh, this is good.
It is good. Just because you made it. This is good.
Okay.
Where were we though?
We were.
It was in Roselle, that place in Central Park.
Were we at Central Park?
Yes. Very much Central Park.
Central Park. What is Central Park?
Central Park, Mr. E.
Oh, yes. We were at Central Park. So me and Abby used to work for...
Should we say it?
Do we want to give them the publicity? We could call it the nickname. Because I don't think people will know.
People will know?
No. Iraq?
Okay.
Yeah. We used to work for this company, Iraq. That's the slang for it. If you know, you know. And... unfortunately, let's just hope and pray you don't know. But we used to, that job just, Lord, if you ever worked for ERAT, you already know you a drinker.
Girl.
You're probably a smoker. You probably do hardcore drugs. If you ever worked there, you probably...
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah, so it was on a regular where me and Abby would literally go and get a drink after work all the time, vent about our day, customers, management, everything. And we were the management. And we're like, girl. And I don't even know what it was, but I think I was drunk. And
were you? I feel like we just got there. It was just how you was feeling.
I was trying to get myself some
grace.
It was a lot. They don't know that.
Okay, we gonna go with you was drunk.
She
just was, there was a lot going on.
There was a lot going on. And I said, let's take a shot per usual. And I did a toast. I think Abby said, like, what are we toasting to? And I don't know. I thought of the first thing in my head. But mind you, I was having a bad day. And I said, to death. And she said, what?
I said, I put my butt.
I was like, no. I don't know why I said to death, but that was like the first thing that came. Like,
I was very concerned. I was like,
I have a dark sense of humor, though.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean,
it was funny, though.
Yeah. So I'm not allowed
moments
to really toast anymore. So that's why she was a little nervous about,
what she was going to say.
Yeah.
But you doing better.
But I did a good job.
That was great.
Yeah.
You said to God. Oh, my goodness.
Fill me with your precious Holy Ghost.
She know 2 gospel songs.
I do.
Rain down on me.
Woo! Y'all hear the vocals, baby.
Nah.
First of all, let me tell y'all.
Don't gas.
When Abby gets big for singing, I will be her manager, taking my 50%.
50? It's like 10, 5.
Wow.
How about
inflation?
You don't need
It's
to be
inflation.
my manager.
Why?
Because you were that before. We gotta tell them that.
Let's get into it. So let's get into first how me and Abby met and how we became best friends. So we met at Iraq.
You looking for the year?
I don't remember the year, so I'm not even gonna try.
No.
But I think we were at Union.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was the branch manager at Union. Abby was my ABM, assistant branch manager. And
can you imagine a branch? We talk about that a lot. With me and Yas as the managers, I don't know. We made money though.
We made money and it was funny. It was Chitts and Giggles every day. Every day.
We did not. I don't know who.
We didn't care about customers. We should have. I'm talking about. And okay, so just so y'all know, Iraq is a rental car company that we worked for, and we just did not like. Yeah, I'm talking about rolling cars, check engine light.
Girl, remember? Was that the brakes?
Yes. Abby used to put customers into cars that were not ready to be on road.
I'm not liable for this. Is there like what's that thing called?
Can Iraq come back and like...
That's what I'm trying to say.
But we didn't say the name of the company.
I'm not
You
liable
cannot...
for anything.
This is allegedly. You
alleged.
say alleged. Yeah. That's what all the internet lawyers say. Okay. Allegedly. We
cannot
put
confirm
customers
or
into
deny.
Cars that had a check engine light, that
brakes
had
was
brakes
a little shaky.
Up.
It was making noises.
Seatbelts maybe didn't work. Oil change. Yeah. And it was you got 2 Black girls who just don't give a shit and just laughing all the time. But there's just some really good stories of us working together, being managers, running a branch in Union. And then Abby went to go do bigger and greater things at the airport.
Oh, that's what we're calling it. I'm still mad at Yasmeen for sending me to the airport.
I did not
And
send
she
her.
goes, this is a great opportunity for you. My life went downhill from there.
As I declined the airport.
And she refused to step foot in the airport. I would never. Verbatim. I would never.
See, the way my summer was set up, honey.
Set me up.
But we ended up growing a really good friendship from Iraq. Had some really good laughs, like crazy laughs and just experiences. And I think when did our relationship grow outside of Iraq? I think it was...
When do you think?
I think it was when you became a branch manager.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. But you became a branch manager at Scotch Plains, right? Or Summit. Yeah.
Yeah. When I got out the airport, because we were ABM branch manager for like 6 months.
It wasn't
6
long.
to 7 months.
Yeah, it wasn't long.
And then I was at the airport for like a year and a half. Thank you,
not
Yasmeen.
My fault. It is not my fault.
She enjoying her summers, nights, days.
I shouldn't have.
Anyway,
I had a great summer.
I've healed from that.
It doesn't sound like it, but that's okay. That's why we're talking about healing today, friends.
I've healed. I've grown. This is great. Everything's great.
Yes.
But after that, when I went to Summit, I felt like, because we was working in the same area. So we was like...
Yeah, because I was in Maplewood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think that's where actually like, because we was just in the group chats together and we have like the same kind of like moments where we were like, what the?
We always read through the BS.
Right.
Always. Like we would be in manager meetings, like texting like this nigga here. Like,
looking at each other like
bruh.
What
like,
is going on?
It was so annoying. But
it was fun.
Yes, it was fun. And one thing about me and Abby, and I'll speak for myself, but I feel like you're definitely one of my friends where like it don't matter what we're going through or what the topic is, we always find a way to laugh.
Yeah.
We literally laugh at stuff we probably shouldn't be laughing at.
We shouldn't be laughing at, but it's funny.
Right. It really is. Like we make jokes.
Right. And when you get it, you get it.
Right. So right. And we have like I have a dark sense of humor, but Abby gets it and she doesn't judge me, which I appreciate. Sometimes she like, Fridge, like, what the hell? She like, to death.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
and I'm like, no, God know my heart though. And she
said that yesterday.
Yeah.
God know
my heart, child. He know my heart. Yeah, so our relationship just grew from there, and now we've known each other. Let me see. I guess like what would I say? Because I left Iraq.
I don't know the dates.
I don't know. Like I don't know how many years.
It's like maybe.
I feel like it's been long, but I don't think it was really not that long.
Yeah, it feels longer than probably what it is.
I think the earliest would be like 2019. Because in 2020, when the pandemic hit, we were already friends.
Right.
So I think it has to be no earlier than like 18, 19.
I think it's like 2018. Because like if you count Union, I would say 2018. That's when we started getting cool. But like 2019, 20. No, 2019, I would say, is when we were like, all right. This my homie.
Yeah. That's my girl. This my friend. This my friend. Yeah. So yeah, and now we're here and Abby is doing great things. You want to tell us? So Abby, if you guys do not know, she is an educator. So neither of us no longer work for Iraq. How do you like being in the education field?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, it's the one thing I would say and Iraq did for me was push me to figure out what I wanted to do and my purpose. Right. And now in the education field and just being around children and it's like every day is fun for me. Like it's totally different. My world just completely changed. Like I just love what I do now.
Yeah.
I could go on and on, but like the kids, I love, the interactions that I have. I love seeing them learn. I love seeing like the bright, like when they get something, they be like, oh, like I love seeing those bulbs go off.
Right.
So it's fulfilling.
Right.
I would say that.
Can't you like, isn't it crazy how like when you're in a situation and you think it's literally like the end of the world and then you like, I don't know. Cause I remember us talking on the phone and you like, no, like I want to change my career path. I want to be an educator. I want to work with kids. I want to do this. How can I do that?
Yeah.
When I'm working here.
Yeah. And
you literally took a bet on yourself and literally just did it.
Yeah. It was hard. I mean, because I was fed up with being unhappy with where I was going every single day. That was it for me. And so like when we talk about God and purpose, like I was like praying like, this can't be life, God. Right. Like, this ain't what you got for me. This is not it. So when I figured out what it was, I was like, I have to go 10 toes down in it because I just can't not be fulfilled when I do every single day, if that makes sense. So it was hard to transition. I like took about a year off with school when I went back to school. Right. Because I was working and it was hard. I was working at the airport and the hours were crazy. I was going to school in my car at lunch. Right. So I was like, I can't do this. Right. But it just kept eating at me. It kept coming back. So right. You betting on yourself, man. It works every time.
It's amazing. And I think it's just, I love the fact, like, of what you said of just, how you kept God the center of all of that, even when you weren't happy. Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of times, especially people, we keep God the center when,
it's bad.
Right. we don't keep God in the center when we're thriving and we got a bunch of money in our bank account and we have our dream job and this and that. It's only when it's bad. And then once you get what you want, you're like, okay,
it's like a bailout.
Right. Exactly. So I know we're talking about God today and, we're talking about millennials, but before we get into the nitty gritty of it, the reason why we're talking about that, and I said Abby is a perfect person to talk about that because Abby started her own, I guess we could say business, her own business,
we could say that.
called Accepted, where I guess, let me not introduce her business, Abby. Go ahead and let us know what is Accepted. When did you start it? What is it? How did you come up with this vision and everything? Yeah.
Accepted was actually my journey, kind of wanting to share it with other people. It's what is basically what it is. It's a space where, so right now all we have is Bible studies every month. And I'm, Bible study, I use that term kind of loosely because while we do, the center is the Bible and God, the conversations aren't necessarily what you would expect it to be. It's more like relevant conversations. It's for millennials, like you say, like 20 to 30s. And just figuring out how to navigate like the everyday stuff that we go through with the perspective of God as the center of it. Right. So it's a monthly thing that I'm doing now. And basically it's about relationship versus like religion aspect, like figuring out how you can have that relationship with God and not necessarily it be based off of what other people say it should look like or what other people say. This is what the rules are, like figuring it out for yourself. Right. So that's what it is. And on my Instagram, I try to do like reels that are, just something that somebody might wake up and they have a lot on their mind and they see it and it just is like a word that they need for the day or something that they need that's going to brighten up, just a bright spot. So that's what it is. I enjoy it. It's virtual right now. I want to expand it. I want to get to, meetups. I want to get to...
You will expand it.
I will expand it. You know what's crazy? I had just listened to a whole sermon about the way we speak. And it's saying like, I want to, I will, I can. Like,
That's why I'm here for you, friend. I got you,
that's
girl.
why you're here.
I got you, girl.
But yeah, I will expand it and, make the Instagram space. I think social media is a really good place to reach a lot of people. So to just make sure my Instagram is just a light and not using it for whatever else that I could post. I could post whatever, but I just want people to be inspired, people to be encouraged, and just to encourage people just to have their own relationship with God. It doesn't have to be what your parents said, like you were saying, your grandma, your mom, what they said, but figuring out who that is and enjoying that. And then it's about community. Right. I think it's hard for me to be out here by myself doing that. But if I have a friend that I can go, oh, we have this monthly meeting, I can unload on you and be like, what would you do? And then, we pray for each other. We build each other up. That's just the whole goal of Accepted. Right now.
And if people want to follow Accepted or see how they can join the virtual meetings, where do they go?
So it's all on my Instagram. It's at Miss _Abigail M on Instagram. It's where I post the reels, the Bible study times, the Zoom link, all that is on my Instagram. For now, and if anything changes, that will be on my Instagram as well. But yeah, Miss _Abigail M.
Okay, cool. So I want to get into, let's start about because obviously we're talking about Black millennials like ourselves and then Generation Z and so forth, and what our relationship looks like with God and how we evolve about that. But before we get into that, we talked about, our relationship, how we became friends. We talked about, a little bit of your past work history and how you've kept God the center of that, even when you were down and, that now that you're up and you're in the career path that you desired and where you want to be and you're happy. We talked about how you started Accepted, what your goal is. But I guess give us a background, or let's talk about your relationship with God, not only now, but since you were a little girl.
Yeah. So, this, I was raised in the church. My parents and my family to this day are very, I would say, religious, spiritual people.
Mm-hmm.
So I was Sundays Christian. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Sundays, Sunday nights sometimes, girl. Wednesday nights, Saturdays, and then come back on Sunday. So it was like that was our life, right? So
that's like 2-3 times a week.
Yeah.
How many hours?
So Sundays used to go, and I would say that it's probably a cut back now, but it's around the same times now where my parents go. But it was like 10 to 2 or 10 to 2. And you would have breaks in between. So it was like, yeah, it was all Sundays that was the Lord's Day, girl. That was the Lord's Day. Okay. Yeah, we had Sunday school. We had I say that to say, like, as like, sometimes you was like, I want to go home.
Right.
I do.
I want to go home.
No, if that meme was out, I would have been singing that in my mom's ear, like, I want to go home. She'd have been like, shut up. No, but the foundation was amazing, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that for what it was. I have a lot of friends, lifelong friends from that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, my life was surrounded and engulfed by church, and we would go to school, we would go to church, do our homework, go to bed, go to school, have a day off from church, go to church next Wednesday night. Like it was that. So when I got older, growing up like that, sometimes it feels like a little much, like stifling. I didn't really get to experience the things that other people were experiencing. So when I went away from school, I was like, oh, we out here.
The girl was outside. Okay.
And I think that's a lot of people's stories that grew up in church like that. We was like, oh, my mom ain't here. She could call me. And ask me
they
where
always
I'm
say
at.
be the church ones. If you the church going girl.
She could ask me where I'm at, but I ain't
gotta
go home. Right. And I went away for school. And those 4 years, I would be honest, I was like, I don't really want to deal with church and God because I've done that my whole life. And I was like, it was kind of, my relationship was based off of what my family said and what my parents were saying. Yeah. And I had to be this type of girl, and I had to present myself in this sort of way. So when I got a little bit of freedom from that, I was like, oh, it's on.
Right. It's
right.
Up.
Yeah. So after college, I would say I moved to Maryland, and it was still College Park 2, right? I was outside still, but I came back. When I came back to Jersey, I think I started being like, I feel like life is like something.
And how old were you at this point?
I came back to Jersey. I was probably 25.
Okay.
25. I was,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Like I was looking for a job. I was still living with my parents. I was coming into this woman, right? And I'm like, I don't want to be under my parents' roof. I want to figure out what my life is going to be.
Right.
So in trying to find a job, I landed ultimately on Iraq. Right. And I went through like 2 other jobs before that and landed at Iraq. And I was good. And it was still, I feel like Iraq was also college 3.0. Like it was a bunch of young kids with money, not college 3.0, but it was like you had money and your mentality was still young for me. My experience, maybe not you.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like there were a lot of young people there, but I think, you know how I feel about Iraq. I feel like they just, they took control of just everything and they manipulated us. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We're not going to give them any more.
Yeah. That's it. That's all you getting, sweetie. Allegedly. Also, allegedly.
We cannot confirm or deny.
They have way more money than we do. And we do not want them to eat Chitts Giggles. I'm like, we just started.
Yaz and I would not last on the streets either.
Child.
Oh my God.
Lord have mercy.
Anyway.
Right.
After Iraq, is when I was really like, all right, God, like I wasn't happy, right? And I was like, I have this foundation and I'm in a space where I'm actually starting to feel like depressed and I like am not figuring out any other way to cope.
Yeah.
Right. So that's when I started like going on YouTube was not starting to get hot, but like the sermons were on YouTube and stuff. And I started to try to separate myself from what my family was doing and figure it out myself. Right. So I would be in my room like in the mornings listening to a sermon on YouTube, just starting my day. And I'm like, yo, this makes a lot of sense. And it's not stuff that I heard before, or it was in a different way, explained in a different way, applied in a different way.
Right.
Right. So I'm like, this is like, I'm really feeling this. Right.
Right.
And it was purpose kept coming up. It was like a constant topic, like purpose. I was like, all right, God. Like, I actually went to a camp that my family's church hosted.
Okay.
And the service, the topic was purpose. And I was like, all right, God.
Now, is this while you're still at Iraq or you already left Iraq?
While I'm still at Iraq.
While you're still at Iraq, but you're going through that transition of like, something's got to give. I'm not happy. What do I do? Okay.
Right. So I'm like, all right, I got to figure, because you got to give it a shot. I was like, I'm going to just give it a chance. I'm going to figure out what my purpose is. I'm going to just pray about it. And once I like open that gate of like, let me just pray about this. Let me talk to God for myself and be like real. And my prayers weren't like, God and Father, I thank you for this day. It was like, God, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I was going to say, so like, how do you pray to God when it's not like so,
formal?
Heavenly Father, thee shall, like Shakespeare.
I literally talk to God like not if I'm talking to you, because there's like a certain respect.
If you do, okay, so just ask for a friend. I'm not saying I do it, but if you happen to talk to God and it's like, yo.
Honestly, that's what I do.
Oh, okay.
And I'll be
you
like.
You don't drop the N-word?
No, but sometimes in my head, I might say like a curse or something. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like,
yeah.
God, like, you know my heart.
Yes. I can't lie. I talk to God like he one of the homies.
I think that's like the natural way to do it. My natural way is not to be like this, because then I won't do it.
Yeah.
If I have to be like, oh, I come to you today and I'm not saying that that's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm saying like the way that works for me is natural.
Yeah.
Like if I'm talking, I'm like, God, I have no idea what I'm doing right now. I'm gonna need you to come through and at least show me something. Like help me. What do I do? Steer me in the right direction. Bring people out of my life, like stuff like that. And that is like authentic, I feel.
Right.
It's easier to tell people like you could just talk to God. You don't have to like pray.
Right.
Like, well, you pray, but you don't have to like be this whole past the pew.
Do you feel like your relationship with God is, I don't want to use the word better, but I guess like stronger now than it was back then with you going to church? Because now you don't go to church as much as you did when you were younger, because you was in church 3 days a week for like 3 hours for each of those days. Now you're an adult, you have responsibilities, you have things that you're doing. So you go to church, obviously when you can, which usually you go every Sunday.
I try
but do you feel like your relationship with God is stronger now, or was it stronger back then just because you were more surrounded by it?
For sure now. Because before, like I said before, it was based off of what other people were telling me to do.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I know God for myself. And it's not my parents, what they tell me who God is, which I think is a great foundation because you have to be introduced to anybody by what someone, like I can walk up to the street and tell somebody about who Yasmeen is, but until they experience Yasmeen, they just on my word.
Right.
So I think it's the same way. So now I know God for myself. I've seen him. I've recognized him work in my life for myself. So now I'm like, we tight.
Right.
We we locked in.
Right.
Locked in.
So what does your parents think about your relationship with God now, being that they are so, religious and, very like engulfed in the church? Like, what do they think about your relationship with God now?
Yeah.
Or do they have any idea what your relationship with God is now?
Yeah, they know. It was hard at first to detach from how my life was before, where I was going before, because it was so tied into all of my family, not just my parents.
Right.
So it was hard to actually even tell them that I'm going to a different church, right? And so with that...
Oh, so you even started going to a whole nother church.
Yeah.
Wow. So you really wanted to take that journey with God and change it for your... Right. It had nothing to do with your family and, friends or anything, just for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was nervous, I was like, every time I was going to tell them, I was like, oh, no. Right. And the pandemic kind of cushioned it for me because it was church wasn't open.
I was about to say, church is
open? No, it was virtual. So I was like, oh, no, yeah. They log on. And I would log on for every so often. And I slowly, because I was logging on to other things, I was trying to find my own thing.
Right.
So then when churches opened back up, my parents were like, oh, you missed a couple Sundays in a row.
Well, I guess it's a good time to tell you.
Well, as I was thinking that, I would get nervous because not for nothing, my parents are actually very high esteemed, and they have an active role in the church that we go to. So
it's not like
it's not just me.
Yeah.
So they're like the way that people would think about them, and I had to put all that into perspective. Like,
right.
Oh, Abby is just out, not coming to church no more. Oh, you out here preaching every Sunday and your daughter's not here. And I didn't want that backlash.
Right.
But to your question, when my parents started seeing, it was hard for them at first. When they started seeing like that, oh, she's not just like outside. She's not just, talking about this. She's actually walking us through the conversations that I would have about about God. They could see like, oh, like I would be excited. I'm like, you gotta read this. So you gotta do this. And they're like, oh, I think you see the fruit when somebody's actually in a relationship with God. So when they saw that, they were like, okay. And so now they are all on board. They love it. They're excited. They're rooting for me. It's a good support system now. Right.
So, and I'm happy that you talked about that. So obviously you've had your own experience and your own journey with how you grew up and, being so religious by way of your parents and just how they raised you and your brothers and having to go to church, to then you going to college, doing your thing, being outside, hotty-toddy,
For sure.
And then saying, hey, let me take a step back and reestablish my own relationship with God. So I'm happy that you spoke about that. And you even spoke about, how your parents took that, because, I want to get into, what we're really here to talk about too, in a sense of, why do you think that millennials and, adults our age, let's just say, 25 to like 35, whatever, right? That relationship with God is broken? Because generations before us and our elders, and like I said, our parents and then grandparents and great grandparents, their relationship with God is so deeply rooted. Like I remember, like my grandmother, she like every Sunday, even sometimes it could be Monday, any day of the week, it's like God this, God that.
Yeah.
You asked my grandmother to pass the salt, and she's like, "Yes, Holy Father." I'm like, "Just pass me the name of Jesus." Salt.
In the name of Jesus.
Like, baby, I just want salt on my burger. Like,
this
that's
salt
it.
Will bless your whole life.
Yeah, and honestly, for me, I'm not religious at all. Like I tell everyone, like I'm not a super. Let me not say I'm not religious. I'm not like super religious in a sense of like, I'm not at church every Sunday. If I go, I go, and it's because I want to go. If I listen in, it's because I want to. I do believe in God. I have a relationship with God. I talk to God in my own way. Some may not agree because I'm like, so
do what you gotta do. Who cares if they agree?
Wilding. Like, send me a sign, and then sign be super clear. I'm like, whoa.
Hit you in the back of the head.
that fast.
It's
give me about 3-5 business days.
Was that the sign?
Right. I'm like,
send me another one. Send me another one.
And then he's like, oh, okay. I guess I gotta listen. But I definitely will say that if I think about like everything I've been through from a child to a young adult to, where I am now, and just opportunities I've been presented, and just overall, I can't chalk that up to anyone else but God. Like it's not luck. It's not a coincidence. It's not science. Right. It is God.
Yeah.
And I realize that and I understand that. And I think for me, my relationship with God really started to develop when I went to college. Because I think at college, I had a lot of pressure in the sense of like trying to live up to my grandmother's standards. And now I'm on my own. My mom's a single parent, but I'm still trying to work and take care of stuff and it was just hard. Yeah. And I kind of felt like I was a little bit depressed, and I started to and it didn't happen right away, but it was like slowly. Like before college, I've never prayed before. Like I've never was like, oh, let me pray. Like if I prayed, it was because my grandmother made me pray before I ate, and I'm just like, what's that prayer?
God is good. God is great. God is good.
No, God is good. God is great. Oh, shoot.
I don't know it because we didn't say that one.
God is great. God is good.
And we thank you for this food. Amen.
That's a shame. That is a shame.
She was just saying it.
I should have was. Wait, what's the one that when you go to sleep?
Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep.
And if I die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Which I think about it now. Do you want the Lord to take your soul?
Yeah.
I mean, well,
it's
if I die before, I don't know. It just seems a little dark.
It goes downhill from there.
Well, yeah, okay. I'm still learning, guys. Bear with me. I'm like, but I used to think like, if I die before I wake, I'm like, that's a little dark.
Yeah,
like,
it is dark.
As a kid, why am I saying that?
A 3-year-old?
Right. And if I die before I wake, like, nigga, no.
You don't even know what you're saying.
TV. Like, I don't know what I'm saying.
You praying like if you die in your sleep, that's a lot.
Bro.
Yeah, they should stop making kids say
as a 12-year-old, even like no matter like in my little age, like
you right.
Big guy. I'm like, bro, like
yeah.
So, but I really don't like now I think about it, I'm like, yeah, that's but as a kid, I was just like, oh, I'm gonna just say it. So and I talk about my experience because my relationship with God and my experience with God looks different than yours, right. Which I'm sure the listeners, their relationship is going to look different if they even have a relationship, which it's a judgment-free zone, right?
Right.
But why do you think, in your own opinion, that Black millennials have this struggle today with connecting with God or the church?
Yeah. I think that it's the stigma with God is attached to what other people have done. What I mean is, if you think about what your grandmother would say, right? You have to look this certain way. You have to wear your stockings. You have to wear your skirt down to here. You can't, the good Christian person, woman or man, had to fit this mold. Mm-hmm. And I think, millennials in general, Black millennials in general, like our generation and the generation under us is very much, I want to break out of any type of mold or barrier they feel
they're
constrained.
Like risk takers. Yeah.
Right. So the way that it's been presented, I think, does God an injustice because it's not how he created it to be, right? But people put their own rules and they put their own standards. And that has been, if you think about the generations before us, they didn't really break the rules or question the rules. They just said, if this is what it is, I have to do it. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think their relationship was so much more apparent, right? It might have been, oh, I go to church every Sunday, but when I go home, they just going to church and there's no other relationship beside that, right? But I think for millennials, when we make it relevant to every day and when we make it relevant to, oh, I'm going to work, I need God to help me from when I leave my house to when I go to work to when I come back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to school.
Mm-hmm.
I need God to help me through sports. I need God to help me through tests. I need God to help me through relationships, navigating dating, all these things. When you make that relevant to people, they want to figure out a way to do things that's going to be beneficial to them and not harmful.
Yeah.
So when people start realizing that the relationship with God is beneficial to your life, it makes your life better in every aspect. And you don't have to look like me. Your relationship doesn't have to mirror mine.
Yeah.
Right. When we start breaking that stigma and that mold, I think more people will be at least open to knowing a little bit about God.
Yeah, I agree, but I guess for me it's just like, okay, well, how do you break that? Because as you're talking, I'm thinking like, I personally think the reason why a lot of Black millennials' relationship with God doesn't look the same as our elders is because we have so many more distractions. You have social media, you have things today that we're dealing with that they probably didn't have to deal with back then. And I'm not comparing that the times now are better than the times as before, because, you know, when you talk about our grandparents, they were dealing with, you know, well, we're still dealing with racism, unfortunately, but, you know, they're dealing with like
blatant,
hardcore, like, well, we still technically kind of dealing with blatant, blatant racism,
like
but
laws and,
segregation, right? Yeah. What is it? Brown versus the Board of Education, whatever it was. You know, you're dealing with so much stuff, but I do feel like, but we can only speak for our experience, right? Like we know from history and, you know, conversations with our elders, like what happened back then, but we have social media, you have way more school shootings and God knows what else happens, you know, in the world nowadays today. Yeah. You have the economy, you know, that's messed up every other 4 years. You have, you know, severe weather and disasters that are happening in places that should not happen. It's just and honestly, I think it really, really boils down to the media and just like our knowledge of just knowing stuff that it's good to know some stuff where it's like, okay, yeah, you know, our technology has advanced so much that you can be in New Jersey and know what's happening across the world in Ukraine. That's great. But sometimes it's also like, it's bad that you could be in New Jersey and there's nothing else you can do but know what's happening in Ukraine. Right. And if it's something tragic, it affects you. So I personally think that with millennials, our relationship with God, it starts to get broken because we have distractions and I personally don't think I think that a lot of millennials feel like they may not have time. You know what I mean? Because that's what I used to think. And I say that because I'm speaking from experience. Like I don't have time to pray. Like I have to get up. I got to go to work. Like I'm busy. My mind is like, when do I have time to pray? And I always thought praying had to be like super formal. Like I need to, because how's God got prayers coming up left and right, child. I'm just trying to get a straight line through. How do I get to that straight line?
You do have a straight line.
Yeah, but I don't know that. In my head, I'm thinking I need to be like on my knees praying. Yeah. And then it's not until like you either do research or you just like, you know what, I'm going to just give it a shot. Right. And I'm going to pray while I'm in bed and, you know, but what do you think about that? Like, do you think it's like millennials and distractions and, you know?
I think that it's interesting that you bring that up because I think that God is in all those spaces. What I mean is when we think about the you know, racism and things that's going on in the world, right? If you understand what the premise of having a relationship with God is, it dismantles racism because you can't hate somebody that you recognize as God's child and you recognize that their circumstances are based off of, I'm not condoning what people do, but when you recognize, if you really have a relationship with God and you allow him to show you people as human beings and just like we in this together, we're trying to figure out this world together and navigate it together, I have a little bit more grace for you, right? So it dismantles racism, it dismantles hate. it dismantles the things like the distractions, social media. God has a space there, right? If you allow social media to continuously be this negative portrayal of toxic behavior and stuff like that, as opposed to putting out things that where people can be uplifted, people can see positive things, people can see just what, you know, churches are doing, or not even churches, people that associate themselves with Christ and God are doing. That shows you a different perspective, but we are fed a lot of negative things. And I also think that if Christians are more open and vulnerable with their walk, it'll show that I don't necessarily have to try to quote unquote make time. You know, like if I show you on my social media, we have all these influencers, right? If I show you that I associate with God, I am a Christian, and my day is, I still have issues, I still have struggles, I'm still out here trying to grind, trying to figure things out the same way that you are. The only difference that I do is I talk to God. And when those things go well for me, I show people like I prayed about this and God opened this door for me. God, you know, something that, like you were saying, it wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. Like if I'm open and honest about my walk and I show the bad and the good, I think people are attracted to realness, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be a time thing or like a distraction thing. Just understanding, allowing, first of all, letting that door be open and then allowing God to do the rest in your life. It just dismantles all the distractions out there. It doesn't get rid of it, right? Because I'm not saying like just because I talk to God, my life is not hard, right? It gives me an outlet. It gives me a space where I can, you know, have a place where I can go and God tells me, okay, I have a plan for you.
Yeah, and I think, and this is going to be me more so playing like devil's advocate when I say this, in a sense of, I completely understand what you're saying, but I do think, and like I said, I say this because I'm speaking from experience, sometimes it is easier said than done, right? Because let's say you're in a situation where, you know, let's say, God forbid, you lose a close family member, you lose like, or you're homeless, or you are, you know, ill, extremely ill, where you are literally at the bottom of the bottom. I'm not talking about our, you know, our little petty issues that we might have during the day. Like, oh my God, I lost an earring. Like, no, I'm talking about like real like shit, right? It's sometimes hard. And you ever like, you know what I'm thinking about? Have you ever seen the clip of Mary where I think her husband was like cheating on her and she was in the kitchen talking to her sister and she was like, oh, just like one of the sisters was like, oh, just like pray on it. And she was like, I don't want to pray on it. Yeah. She was like, God can't help me right now. Yeah. I'm going through it. She was like, don't quote me on this because I think I've only seen the clip like once or twice, but I thought about it in a sense of like, I think sometimes it's hard to tell people who are really low, like they are at their bottom, like they don't know how they're going to eat the next day, to say, just pray on it and God will get you through. And they wake up the next day and they're still hungry.
In the same situation.
It's still in the same situation. And I see some people who, you know, a lot of times, sometimes, because, you know, my family's from Newark and, you know, Newark is what they call the hood, some parts, whatever case may be. The people in the hood are sometimes the ones that go to church every day, the most religious, and, you know, they're first ones there. They'll give whatever money they have, and their situation and circumstances never change. But yet they're the ones who are praying every day. So I say that to say, for some people, it's like, well, if, you know, you're trying to rebuild your relationship with God, or you've been talking to God for God knows how long, or for however many years, whatever, it's like, well, I'm doing the right thing. I'm going to work every morning. I'm working 2 jobs. I'm a single parent. I'm trying to support my kids. I'm making a scenario up. I just found out I'm ill. You know, my youngest son, whatever. Where's God? Because how do I find God in this situation that's hell? What do you say to that?
it's a great point. And I think to think that Christians don't go through that stuff, or to say that
like
the Christian
God.
Like to say that, I haven't had moments where I'll be like, God, like, I'll tell you right now, like when I'm at work, and I know that God placed me here and where I'm supposed to be, there has been times in that transition where I was like, God, I know you told me to come here. I know you told me to do this, right? Where are you?
Mm-hmm.
What you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you brought me here. I would have never done this if I didn't pray about it. What's going on, right? And I think we shouldn't try to make it seem like it's not going to be that, because going through life, you are going to be that. And like when we start reading the Bible, God talks about that stuff. He says, in this life, you're going to have tests and trials and tribulation. It's you live this life long enough, you're going to go through something that's going to be a moment that's terrible. It's going to be a moment that you can, hit rock bottom. It's promised to everyone. It's just the way that life is.
Right.
Right. What I say to the person, oh, just pray about it. No, because that's not talking to your humanity right now. You don't want to hear.
You hit the nail on the head with that. Yeah.
Just pray about it.
Yeah.
I want to be in the gutter with you. You want me to be here and be mad with you and acknowledge your emotion. And I think that that's where Christians have to be like, I'm here. I see that you're going through this. As with prayer, I am going to also try to help. I'm going to, how can we get out this? How can we be practical? How can we, if we're in a job, what habits, or we don't have a job, what habits do you need to let go of? So God is just not going to give you a handout. You have to do the work, right? So it's very much in life. I've lost family members that, I lost the aunt that was like literally my best friend at 12 years old. And I did not know she was sick, and it was sudden for me, right? And I was like, we go to church every Sunday. Why would God make somebody this sick?
Right.
Somebody that's so kind. So like she worked for like this company that helped so many people that were in poverty. Like this person that had like a great heart, and this happened to her, right? There's moments that we are going to have those questions.
Yeah.
But I think when we come back to the big picture of, the Bible says, I have a plan for you, right? To prosper you, to not harm you. It doesn't say that your life is going to be peaches and cream. If we say that to somebody, if some church is preaching that, they lying. They lying.
You want to know my first time when I started to question God?
What? Yeah.
When I got my first ass whooping. I'm just being honest. I was like, Lord, why?
So that was the first time you prayed.
Why? Literally, I was in there, and my mother, she couldn't give two shits. I was in there questioning it. She was like, shut the hell up.
And what did you do to get it? Now you praying.
I don't know what I did. What did I do? It did. Whatever I did, it did not deserve the ass whooping that I got. And I was just like, something. It can't be a Lord. Because if it was, she would have hit me with this belt when I was getting out the shower.
Nah, it can't be a Lord.
I was in the house like, you're the devil. You're evil. Honestly, I was like, this is like, gosh. I was like, there can't be a God, because why would you do this to me?
And you think I did it? When my family was going to church every Sunday.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
We was in the same boat.
See, I would have been in there like, God would like that. God would like if you touch me.
And they would have been like, God didn't like what you did.
Damn.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
We deserve this sometimes.
I didn't deserve that. I'm still questioning God, asking him, why? I got a mark on my back leg.
Kid,
I was a good child. I was a good child.
You probably said something smart.
Did I? Probably. But once again, it did not deserve to be coming out the shower wet. Oof. And then getting hit with a belt.
Out the shower one?
Come on.
Yeah, that's bad.
Child.
That's bad.
Lord have mercy. So how do we, we talked about that, but how do we rebuild the relationship? How do millennials and the younger generation, how are you working with Accepted on rebuilding that relationship? Like, what are the ways that we can do that? Because, we identified the issues that millennials and Generation Z might have with, and I don't even think it's just with religion. Honestly, I think it's just with life. Like, if I think about like my little brother, who I think he's 18 or 19. And like, it's like, oh, I'm not in a rush to get my license. I'll just Uber.
I don't want to do it.
I'm like, what?
It's
like,
so easy.
I was in a rush to get my license at your age. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, they're not like, they're just like, old. Kind of like, oh, I'm just.
She old, y'all.
Yeah.
the ones below us, they just lazy.
I am not gonna lie. I'm giving y'all auntie. I'm giving y'all auntie. I'm giving y'all auntie.
She giving Tony Braxton today. She don't know the words, y'all. That's a sin that's a sin.
Break my heart.
Oh. Hit that note again.
The only real singer here. Unbreak my wait.
Oh. Oh. Oh my gosh.
Child, we actually tried to sing on the phone. We were up to like 2 a.m, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we were like, come on, let's sing. Oh, or I was like, come on, let's sing songs together. Karaoke. And it was like.
She was like, I'm more of an alto.
Mind you, I can't sing for shit. And Abby was like, I didn't know she was like lit or drunk on the phone. And she was just had the phone. She was like, yeah, what song you want to sing next? And I'm like, yeah, that was funny. But how do we, so going back on topic, how do we rebuild that relationship? Like, or how are you working on rebuilding that relationship with Accepted?
I just think it's exposure. I don't have to do that. So, all right.
Or helping them, not rebuilding it, but helping us rebuild it.
It's exposure, right? So if I think it's all about being vulnerable and being honest, right? If I am telling somebody, listen, I got to answer. Let's hypothetical. Let's do a whole different scenario. If I said to you,
"Oh, are we role playing?"
No, but okay. We you don't even know what I was gonna do.
Oh, I thought we were role playing. I was like, oh, okay.
I said hypothetical.
Okay, sorry. She got excited. The alcohol's kicking in.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I drank more than you did, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but God knows my heart.
God knows her heart.
He knows I love Hennessy.
Drink.
Huh?
Anyway.
Yeah, okay. This is our relationship. This is
like just threw me all off.
Right.
Like, oh, we
super silly. Like, yeah, just all over the place. Go ahead. Okay, I'm sorry.
How do we expose or help the relationship of millennials? Right.
That's
the question. I think it's being open and honest with your path with God. So if I talk to you and say, "Hey, Yas, I have the cure for cancer right now in my pocket. Would you be willing to listen or hear me out or try?" And like you're in a desperate situation and you just want to hear it. Would I just think that you having an open heart to hearing that is all I need, right? Because I don't need to do the work. Once you have an open heart and God sees that there's like that little room where okay, I got her. All she needs is me to just move in here and do what he does in your life. That's it. A mustard seed. I'm so proud of you. A mustard seed of faith. That's all he needs. All I need is for you to be like, okay, I'll listen. And I can share my story with you. I can share a moment where I was down and this is how it got me out.
Right.
And you can relate to that and you're like, okay, I don't fully, like, I'm not fully on board yet, but I'm here to listen. I'm here to have that open space. That's all I need. Right. Because God didn't ask me to convert you. He said, go out and tell people about me and he'll do the work. Right. Like the same way, like, I think when it goes back to like where I was raised, my family couldn't do it for me. I had to be like, okay, God. Okay. Right. And then he showed up and did what he does. So I think if people just are open to just at least hearing, you know, I think there's a lot of things out here and people are very like, oh, this. Like, it's like, oh, I want to try this. I want to try. There's like, why aren't we so open to at least trying and hearing what God has?
Right.
If you at least try it.
Yeah.
Like, just have a little bit of, all right, God, I don't know what this is about, but I'm here.
Right. I think too, I agree with you said, but to add on to it, I think it's just also making sure people understand that, yes, you have to have a relationship with God, but it's also your intent, your everyday intent, right? Because you're a child of God. And I know, though I'm not religious, but I always listen to my grandmother anytime she said anything regarding, you know, God, the Lord, or whatever. And she always used to just like drop little gems like here and there of just like, you know, you may not have to go to church every day. You may not, you know, be able to recite the Bible, which I can't. But it's more so about every day when you wake up, are you a good person? How do you try to help others? Like, what is your intent? And that is you living through God, right? But if you're getting up and you're harming people, and it's like kind of like that contradiction of like, oh, I go to church every Sunday. I know how to quote the Bible. I do this, I do that. But then it's mean. That you're mean. When on your way to church or leaving church, you're cursing out people in traffic. You are, you know, cheating on your spouse.
Yeah.
You are doing all these things that are just like, you know, it's not godly, but you're the main person that's at church every Sunday, you know, that's judging everyone else, but yet you're not living through God. So for me, it was more so of like, because I used to be embarrassed. Like when I remember one time I was like talking to a guy, and he was like, oh, it's like, you know, what's your religion? And I was like, oh, you know, I was like, I'm a Christian. And he was like, oh, okay. And then he started asking me questions, and I was like, I'm like,
you felt judged.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know that stuff.
Yeah.
And at some point I started to feel comfortable with saying, hey, listen, like, I cannot quote you the Bible. I cannot tell you about David and Goliath and, you know, this and that. I don't know. I'm sorry. Like, I just don't know. But what I can tell you is that I love every day. Everything that I do is with love. I try my best to protect the people that I love and give back when I can. And I feel like that is enough for me to have a start, right? You still have to have faith.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think, and I feel like that's where sometimes stuff gets misconstrued. Like, you don't have to know the ins and out of the Bible and all that other stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I used to think that, honestly, even just from, once again, like our elders. And I feel like, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong when I say this, this is just like what I think. Their relationship with God, and I mean our, you know, elders, it's so strong because I think it dates back to slavery. In a sense of, we weren't around during slavery, but God forbid, just imagine you're a slave, you're chained, they probably raped you, beat you, you know, you can't learn anything. All you hear is that you're nothing, or you're this, you're that, you're mentally broken, physically broken. What else do you go to but this higher power?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about for Black people. I'm not talking about, because obviously Christianity is not just for Blacks.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking about just for Black people. Now, I'm gonna say Black Americans, because it was more than just Black Americans that were enslaved. Africans were enslaved too and everything. But for Black Americans, you know, I feel like that's where it dates back to. And I feel like that's why their connection with God is so much stronger, because that's all they knew. That's all they knew. There's no social media. There's nothing else. There's not even a telephone to get in contact with so-and-so.
Yeah.
All it is just this power that you don't know, you never seen before.
Yeah.
But it gives you hope. It gives you hope. And then 400 years later, you know, it comes through. But, you that's just like my thoughts on it in the sense of, and I know for Black Americans, which is another topic I want to get into, I hear a lot about the judgment of Black people praying to a white Jesus. How do you feel about that? Do you think Jesus is white or he Black? I definitely think Jesus is Black with like cornrows or dreads. I hope he got dreads, even though I don't like dreads like that. But I mean, I hope God got a season, like a fade.
You thought we got
with
360,
Ooh,
360 waves?
Huh? Sorry.
Jesus got a fitted? 360 waves? Or just a low
God look like Nas.
Oh my
I feel like God look like Nas. He got a Sunni beard. And he like, what's up? Yeah. Oh no, is that Jesus?
It could be
Chitts Giggles is a judgment free zone.
It could just be whoever you want it to be at this point. The Holy Spirit.
Ooh, what about if God is a woman?
No, it's not.
No?
No. I don't think.
Why can't God be a woman? Let's talk about that.
Because I'm going off the basis of the Bible. It's nothing in the Bible that states that God is a woman.
That's sexist, though.
In 2022, it is 2023. But I am going based off of the Bible, and it does not state that God is a woman. Sorry. And that might offend people, but sometimes the truth is the truth.
Is God Black at least? What do you think?
I can't say. I can only go based off of what the Bible says. It says his hair was like wool.
Okay.
Right? And I think that
what was his nose? Because he could have been mixed.
It doesn't give like that whole description. And I don't want to quote it and misquote it, but it does say that his hair was like wool. And his skin was, it does not say that his skin was like of a darker tone.
That's what it says?
In lesser, so many words. Yes. But
let me find out God was there.
I think that's why why are people putting so much of an emphasis on what God looks like?
Because I think it's easier to relate. And I think it does something to the mind, if I'm being quite honest, because in every day and walk of life, there's white people who are the president. Shout out to Barack Obama. You know, we got our little one and we're going to hold on to him. But any other time, it's white men who's the president, who's the CEO of this company, who's this, who's that, who's always in authority. You have the media who promotes just whiteness. Everything, sometimes we're surrounded in our surroundings is just that. What Chris Rock say? If it's all right, if it's all white. That's what he said. It's all right if it's all white.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know where I'm going with this, right? So I think for Black people, it's like that sort of. Think about how a white person feel when they've had that sort of comfort when they see someone that looks like them in that authority of power. And what is the highest power other than God? There's nothing. So if God, everyone, you go to church, they got the white Jesus and the flowy hair and all that stuff.
In certain churches.
Yeah. But for most of them, and I've heard Black people say, you know, people, especially Black people who are criticizing, you know, oh, you're going to go pray to that white Jesus. And I don't always agree, but I understand how they feel because it's like white people are just, you know, they control a lot of the shit that we see and what surrounds us. Now you want to be, not saying you want to be, but now we're praying to a white Jesus. Like,
so I hear you.
You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying for sure.
I'm playing devil's advocate.
No, I get it. I get it. I get what, and that's like a real thing that people struggle with. But I think that first of all, the picture of that white Jesus was and is not based off of anything biblical. That means in the Bible. That means someone made that up and it blew up to this is what God, Jesus looks like. Right? Now, the issue with that I think Christianity comes into is when people put their spin on it and their own interpretation of it and push it out as truth. Meaning that picture is nowhere in the Bible where it says that God looks like that, Jesus looks like that. But like you said, it was I'm sure it was a white person that made that picture, and I'm sure that, you know, in a dominant white society at the time, it was just pushed out as this is Jesus, this is Jesus, this is Jesus. It doesn't bother me because when I look at that, it holds no weight. It holds no weight because it's like, I know somebody made that up. Someone drew that and they try to push that off as who God is. When I think about the weight of that I don't, when I think about who God is, I don't really worry about what he looks like.
I have another question.
Because if when I believe that God created us, he made us all different types of colors and shades and ethnicities. And that's the beauty of the world and what it is. Right. And if he made us in his image and what that is, why do I have to care about praying to a white Jesus that somebody made up?
Yeah.
It shouldn't take that much stake in my mind. You made that up. And then you pushed it off to the masses. And then people said this is, in all of the churches that I've gone to that had that picture is never put up or do
you go to an all black church?
My church is actually very diverse. Black, Hispanic, white, very diverse. And I was raised in a diverse church as well. And
is it like a come as you are church?
My church now is very much come as you are. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's
like chill.
Yeah.
Okay. Not like judgy.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So when you were talking about, you don't really put too much emphasis on the image of God, right? Or right. Because it's more so your relationship with him. I guess, what would you say about the weight of the Bible that was written by man?
That's a good question.
Because it's like, I always used to question that. I'm like, well, how do I know?
That's a good question.
I could write a book today and say it was the Bible. And that was from, I mean, I doubt anyone will believe me, but, you know, how it's hard for me to read a book and say, this is exactly what happened. And this is exactly, you know, what I'm supposed to believe if a man wrote it. And a lot of the times, but first, let's hold on. Let's talk about the Bible and being written by man. So then what are your thoughts on that?
That's a very deep concept, I think. But the Bible is inspired, and it's inspired by the Jesus himself and the Holy Spirit. So basically, it's written by man's hands, but it's God's words. And that's why I say it's a deep concept, because I think if you're like kind of beginning in the faith, it's hard to grasp
and like understand that. Yeah. I think that's my struggle.
Yeah. But also the Bible is it's a historical document that has yet to be negated. It's the longest, it's the best, the most sold book in the world of all time. And there is actual historic things that back some of the things that happen in the Bible. Noah's Ark. Is it like some of the things like that are even in the Old Testament? There are things that are today present that back up exactly what is in the Bible. So I think it's a deep, very, very deep conversation. I think that as you grow your faith and you actually start to read the Bible, you start to recognize that word, I can open my Bible, and my Bible's on my phone, to be honest.
Real?
Yeah. I used to have a hardcover. I still have a hardcover Bible.
You
but
got the Holy Bible app?
Yeah. I use that on my phone majority of the time, because it has different translations. It's modern. I can carry it wherever. But I will tell you, there's been so many times that I'm dealing with something and I open my Bible app and it literally talks to exactly what I'm going through. Exactly to the T. It gives me like an answer. Like, and there's stuff like that. I'm like, it can't be anything but God and like the Holy Spirit. It's a deep conversation.
Yeah.
But I think that once people start growing and they start reading, I think a lot of people say that, but they haven't actually read the Bible too. So if you actually took the time to read
That's a long book.
But we read a lot of different things. And we find, maybe not you. There's Audible.
Girl.
But people, no, if you actually take the time, and I'm not saying like reading like the whole chapter. No, she don't. Read the whole chapter. Read a verse.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's like you will be dealing with heartbreak.
Yeah. We're going to go to church tomorrow. I'm going to download the app.
And the verse that you read will literally give you the answer to that. I'm like, how, that's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
You know? But you was about to go into a whole different topic.
Yeah, no, because I
take a sip.
I know.
Sips.
And I know this is going to be like super controversial and, you know, it's going to maybe ruffle a couple feathers, but that's what we do here, Chitts and Giggles. So, you know, but,
you said, okay, gay marriage.
Right. The gays. I love the gays, child. You know, I am a advocate. I am, as our mother would say, I am an ally of the LGBTQIA plus community, honey. Okay, non-binary, cis, non-cis, they, them, whatever y'all say, child. I can't keep up, but I will say that's why I said I feel like the Bible sometimes contradicts itself because we should love everyone. In my experience, it's the
opposite.
Right. When it comes to those hardcore church-going, Bible
toting.
Right. It's like,
yeah.
Gay marriage or gay love or same-sex anything is forbidden. And I'm like, but why? What? They're not hurting anyone. Like that doesn't like that part. I think that's where, because I have a relationship, my own relationship with God. I've never had a relationship with the Bible. And to be honest, if I'm being, you know, if this is a safe space, I don't know if I will ever have a relationship with the Bible, the book, because I don't have a connection in. When certain things that I have read or that I know about the Bible, I don't necessarily agree with.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, like when it comes to, you know, like gay marriage or like pro-choice, pro-life, like all that stuff. Like there's so many things that like the Bible says, like this is what you have to believe or this is what you have to do. And it's like, but what if, you know, we live in a new day and age and maybe that's what they thought back then. And maybe that was unheard of back then, but this is, you know, 2023.
Right. So, gay marriage.
Gay marriage. The gays.
No.
I got y'all queens. We gonna talk about y'all. I got y'all queens.
No, okay. So I'm trying to.
But do you get where I was coming from in the sense of like why I said I feel like sometimes the Bible contradicts itself? I
understand why you would think that, but it's not contradictory in any way. Contradictory, because the Bible does say to love everyone and treat your neighbor as yourself. What that means is, you are my neighbor. I am supposed to treat you as if I'm going to treat myself, right? And that in that regard, I am extending the same grace, the same love that I would want someone, that I would give myself, or I want somebody to give me, to give to you, right? So I am not the person that's going to bash anybody or put anybody down,
Mhm.
right? I think that God created us all and he loves us equally, right?
Mhm.
I do think that there are truths in the Bible that are very cut and dry.
Mhm.
And that does not mean that I think that the way that people, older Christians, have treated
Mhm.
people that are of the LGBTQ community is correct, because they've not treated that person in love. I don't have to agree with your lifestyle. I don't have to agree with what you do. I don't have to agree. And that's regardless if it's sexuality, sexual
Mhm.
orientation, the way that you conduct
Mhm.
yourself in general. I don't have to agree with that.
Mhm.
I can't be the person to make you feel less of a person, less terrible, or make you feel bad because I don't agree with what you're doing.
But I think that's still happening today, though.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. The thing is, it's the people
Mhm.
that have put this negative stigma on the treatment of others that is
Mhm.
the problem. It's not the Bible that's the problem.
Mhm.
It's the human interpretation and the human interactions with others
Mhm.
that bring a negative just atmosphere and a negative attitude when it comes, and everybody lumps Christians in a hole in
Mhm.
that. I am not going to be the one to be like, you going to hell because you do it.
Mhm.
I am going to sit here. I'm going to love you. I'll pray for you. If I don't agree with your
Mhm.
lifestyle, I have the right to do that,
Mhm.
as the same way you have the right to not agree with whatever I do. But I don't have the authority. The Bible never gives me the authority to treat you less than, if that makes sense. So the contradiction comes from people. It's not from the Bible.
Mhm.
Contradiction comes from human error, not the Bible, right? And that's why I it's hard for me to like, you have to open it to see it. It's hard for me for people when people say stuff like that, but then they've also never read it, because it's like, how can you make a statement like that, but you haven't actually taken the time to see what it says and to know if it contradicts you. How do you know that it contradicts itself?
So I think I get what you're saying, but let's be real. That's still happening today.
Absolutely.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
not saying it's not. I'm saying it's the human treatment of others that's wrong.
Mhm.
If I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, like the way that Christians are treating people of those lifestyles is wrong, right? The way that they interact with them, instead of coming with them with love, is hate. I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
I think that's wrong. And
Okay,
it's
that makes
nowhere
sense.
near in the Bible that says that to treat somebody like that. I don't have to agree.
So I think where my perspective comes from is like, when you have, and what I was thinking about too is like Trump supporters, right? Or, those diehard, I'm not saying if you're a Trump supporter, you're like racist or anything, but let's just be honest, majority of them, don't like, people of color or whatever case may be, but they're also like strong Christians, and they are this and that. So I think and this is you just taught me something, so I appreciate that. The lesson that I just learned is like, don't associate what you see other people do or abuse the Bible or abuse Christianity and associate that to God. And, that's life, or that's true. That's someone abusing, religion to their own benefit.
Yeah.
And then saying, well, this is how it should be. But it's like when you're consumed by it, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like you can't help but like, oh, the Bible contradicts itself, because it's like, oh, everyone, gays, you shouldn't be allowed to love and all this other stuff. But it's like, yeah, I mean, it's people who they aren't looking past the Bible and love and just respect.
They're being unkind
with hate. Yeah.
Human beings.
Yeah.
And that's like, when you put humans into the mix, into the equation, error and wrong and hate is going to add into the equation.
Yeah.
When you look at the Bible for what that is, error and hate is absent from there. As soon as you add, it's like anything. If I add human, we are naturally and people that make mistakes and naturally have biases and naturally don't like people because of whatever reason. It could be like the stupid, she looked at me crazy. I don't like her now. You know, and these are the same people that are Christians. And now, as time has gone on, you might have seen like a train of these people. But, and that I think the unfortunate thing that happened is this thought has been passed down as a Christian thing. This is a Christian. This is a Christian. This is what they look like. This is how they act. This is what they think. This is when you come down to looking at the Bible and seeing like, I can be who I am as a human and read it and recognize that I don't have to be a hateful person or have this stigma or have this. I can be exactly who God tells me to be when I'm in the Bible. When I open I can love others. I can
God
extend
told me
grace.
to be a bad bitch. I'm just being honest. God don't like ugly. Child, you see me? Do you see me, honey? I'm just saying. I'm just keeping it real. Question. I do have it's probably like a silly question, but like, what do you think the qualifications are to get into heaven?
What I think the qualifications?
Yeah, like what's the like? You got in my head, God, like,
Yas is crazy.
He has like a list, and he's like, Yasmeen Pugh, like here. Hopefully, Lord, please give me the opportunity to say here in the pool of everyone trying to get into the gates here, because if I'm not able to hear my name being called, that means I'm somewhere else.
Yeah, it's just like that student in class, like, you forgot.
Right. Hello.
Am I on the attendance list?
I'm like, hold up, wait. I know. Did you fill out an application? Yes, I did. Did you sign at the bottom? Like,
you in the wrong line.
Where's the line?
Go to the back of the line, man.
Downstairs. Downstairs, but it's hot down there. I know. Like, in my head, I be thinking like the qualifications.
This is like literally what she does.
I know.
When we talking about something serious, she be like, But
I always ask like the stupidest questions, but like honestly, I really be learning. That day we had like an hour and a half conversation about God, and you was like, all you need is a mustard seed. And I was like, for real?
Yeah.
All I need, I was
you
like,
hung on to that.
Seed?
You hung on to that. I think
I did.
Yeah, you
Girl,
did.
Girl, I'm like,
you've been talking about mustard seed for the last year.
I got a mustard seed. Actually, no, it's bigger than mustard seed. It's like, it's a lot.
That's all you need.
Yeah, well, all you need is a mustard seed. But my faith, because I told Abby, I was like, now, if I get up to the heaven, and I'm in line, not to the heaven. If I get up to heaven.
I told you what you have to do to go to heaven. Did I tell you that?
You said just have faith. Yeah. And then I said, well, what about the murderers who have faith, but they still be murdering people? They ain't gonna get into heaven.
That question is so hard.
I know. Because like, who are we to say?
It's so hard. It's hard for me to grasp my head around.
For all your sins right before.
Because every bit of me wants to be like, no.
Like, I don't want to be next in line next to R. Kelly.
Step,
in front of me.
Side to side. Round and round.
Can I get your signature? Sign right here at the bottom of my application, please. I can't hold you.
Lord,
but I really want to know, like, what are the qualifications? Like, I'm not saying like I'm just about to just do the bare minimum to get into heaven, but like, what's the qualifications? Like, other than a mustard seed of faith.
So that's called being saved, right?
What you gotta do to be saved?
You have to
get baptized?
No, actually. After you become saved, you become baptized. It goes in that order. But
what do you mean by saved though?
Yeah, I'll tell you. So to be saved means that you actually have to, like you said, have faith and believe that Jesus came to this earth and, died on the cross for your sins and, rose again. And you have to talk to God and say, God, I but I want you in my life, come into my heart, and just change me. And when I say change me, I don't think it's not going to be an instant like, oh, I'm saved. I'm wearing skirts down to my ankles. And it's going to be like just that realization that you need God in your heart. You need God in your life, and talking to God and just allowing him to just be the person that is driving your life.
So I can do that on my own and then say I'm saved.
You can pray and say, God, I believe in you. I trust you. I want you to come into my life. Change me.
But don't you still have to walk that life? Like you can't just say like you're
No.
So who determines if you're saved or not?
No, that's the thing about it. And
I guess they would determine that at the
that's what I'm saying. God literally says all you have to do is say those words and mean it.
What's the exact words?
I'm asking for a friend. I'm asking for it. You ask for yourself. We gonna get her saved, y'all. We praying about her.
Ooh, the next episode of Chitts and Giggles, come with me to get baptized.
Yeah, this is crazy.
But come on, what's the word? Come on. I need to make sure I say these words.
So the words it's just basically like, Lord, come into my life. Change me, renew me. I believe that who you are.
We'll talk about this later. I'll write it down later.
Well, yeah,
okay. Lord, come into my life, save me and
renew me, change me. I believe in who you are.
Okay.
I want you to just come into my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And
I feel like I said that, not those exact words, but something like that.
So the Bible literally says that's all you have to say, and that's it. And that actually you're sealed. After that, nothing can take away your salvation.
But you need the mustard seed too.
You have to have faith in order to be saved.
Say that. Okay. That's it.
So in the reality of it, you have to have faith to believe in God.
Right.
Because you can't see him.
Right. So faith
is believing in things that are unseen.
You need a mustard seed of faith. Say somewhat of those words. And I guess live a life of God.
So your works can't save you. So I could be the best person in the world.
But if you never say that.
I never said those words. The Bible literally says you will come to the gates in heaven, and
do you know what chapter
and he will say, yeah, you can look at John chapter 3 verse 16.
Oh, excellent. John chapter 3 verse
that's 16. Like a popular verse.
Okay.
It says whosoever believes in him.
So why do I think
should not
perish. I just don't know. Why don't I think you had to get baptized to be like?
So baptism is like a public display of you go up. It's the depiction of Jesus being killed on the cross, and he goes down in the tomb for 3 days and is raised again. But he's different. He's changed. It's a public display to other people around you to say that I'm a Christian. My walk is now no longer going to be what I used to be, but it's going to be a walk of progression and faith going forward. That's what it is. It doesn't save you though.
Have you been baptized?
Yeah, I was baptized when I was like 12.
Do you, this is me just not knowing.
Yeah, no.
Is it like an expiration? Or no. Once you baptize, you're good? Yeah. You don't have to get baptized again. When you find a new walk or...
it's crazy. I've actually...
should you get baptized again?
I've actually thought about it, I'll be honest, because when I was baptized at a young age, I didn't have the relationship that I had with God that I have now. So I've thought about it. It's something that I'm praying about, but I've seen people that have been baptized before get baptized again just to say that, okay, this time I'm actually understanding what I'm doing. I'm committing, changing in that way. But it's not something like you have to, Lord, I messed up today. Let me go get baptized tomorrow. It's not something like that. No.
Can we get baptized together?
For real?
No, I would love to get baptized.
I would love that.
I'd honestly, I feel like that would seal the
That
deal.
would be amazing.
Yeah.
I will fly back to Houston to do that for sure.
Oh, we get okay, or I'll come to Jersey. It doesn't matter. But where do you get baptized at? Like, is it like a
in church,
lake, pool,
anywhere, any body of water,
any body of water?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get baptized, y'all.
You gotta say that. Make sure you get in first. That salvation prayer.
I gotta say, okay. Step 1 is prayer.
We're just gonna talk later.
Step 1 is prayer. Step 2 is mustard seed of faith.
I told Yas about mustard seed, and she would not let that go. She even got a mustard shirt on.
Okay, I got a mustard dress on, Lord. Do you see me? Do you see me, honey? Do you see me?
She trying, Lord. She trying.
I am trying. Okay, and then baptize. Okay, all right. Child, I sound like I'm getting into heaven. I'll be the first one right there with me.
I'm like, oh,
my name is on the list. Hey. I mean, nor am I trying to go anytime soon, Lord. Jesus. But whenever it is my time,
this is what
I'm gonna be in line. I want to see all the greats in heaven.
You're really excited.
I will be a groupie. Excuse me, Mr. Tupac. Can I get a picture with you? Like, what? Okay, what do you think heaven is like? Do we know? I think we talked about this. We don't know what heaven is like.
The Bible says some things. Is that the streets are paved with gold. Yeah, I already
real gold.
Yeah. You thought God was gonna have the streets paved with fake gold?
Child, have my feet turning green.
God, yes. My feet itching.
You already know I'm in there. Who's that these streets? My feet. My feet is dirty. Can I get a pair of shoes, please? I stress her out.
We gonna pray for her, y'all.
Pray for me, y'all. Pray for me. Yeah. No, I think sometimes like, what is heaven like? And like, especially when I think about my grandmother, I don't know. You know what really made me feel God? Like I always know there's a God, but I felt God when my grandmother passed away. And it was like certain situations where it was like, I would call on her and I don't know if that's like related to God or not, or that's like more like spirits or I don't know. But like, I would feel her energy. It's like, I felt God, but it's like, she was like, God was talking through her. I don't know. It was like, I would feel her energy and I would be like, wow. Yeah. Like, it would just like consume me. Like, you know, I was like, grandma, like, what do I do? Or like, you know, whatever case may be. And I'm like, yeah, like, that's why I'm not, because sometimes it's kind of hard to like imagine for me, like what heaven is like, or, you know, we know it's a heaven and there's a hell. And if there's good, there's evil. But it's just like, I think once you experience like some type of, you know, spiritual, what do you call it? Yeah, it's like, ooh, like it's like a breath of fresh air. And I wasn't scared at all because I'm a scaredy cat when it comes to stuff like that. But I wasn't scared, and I was like, oh, there has to be heaven. Like my grandmother has to be my angel. Yeah,
I mean, that's probably the best part about heaven is that you get to honestly see the people that, like your grandmother, you get to see her again, and it's eternal. Like if you can ever think of that, like, and also the Bible talks about like there's no sin up there, so there's no pain. There's no hurt. There's no issues. There's just joy and bliss and like.
But they're not smoking cigarettes.
Do you want a cigarette? You want a hookah? You gonna
do they smoke hookah? Yo, heaven would be lit as hell if we could smoke hookah.
Lit as hell.
We're gonna cut that part out. It's a Hennessy. If we can smoke hookah in heaven, I'm telling you right now, if there's barbecues, if it's what life is like on earth and heaven is just like that times 10 and there's no like evil, come on. Imagine just having fun all day, every day. You don't even get sleepy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I ain't saying I'm trying to go tomorrow, but
Yeah, nobody's trying to go tomorrow.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to go tomorrow.
You never gonna say that prayer again. Never again. No. Yeah.
All right, come on. Like, what are you doing?
I am actually not that far behind.
God knows our hurt.
I'm sipping it. You drink that talking about hookah in heaven.
I know. It's definitely got to be.
I don't like that face.
It gotta be hookah in heaven. Blowing hookah smoke into the clouds. Walking on gold. That's fire. That's mad fire, though.
I guess.
This is a safe space, judgment-free zone. Allegedly, there's hookah in heaven.
No.
So I heard.
Nobody said
So I heard there's hookah in heaven, y'all.
We could not confirm or deny.
I'm gonna pray to my grandma and ask her. She will probably have a heart attack.
We could not confirm or deny.
Asking me if there's hookah up here.
She probably don't even know what that is.
My grandmother was she was outside, honey.
She knew what hookah is? My grandma is sure.
If she looking down, she gotta know what hookah is.
No.
She probably looking at me. She was probably looking at me smoking hookah earlier this morning. Like, Lord. Whose grandchild is this in Houston, Texas, smoking hookah? That was mine. Can you get her?
She said, I'm so sorry.
Right. I'm sorry, y'all. Cover you.
I fell asleep.
You're late to your shift. Right. Come on, let's go. You see what happens when you're late? She started drinking at 9 a.m. and smoking hookah. But it is what it is. But yeah, no, I think on a serious note, I know.
On a serious note.
Right, after talking about hookah and all that stuff, but on a serious note, and all of this is like, me making jokes is for like content purposes only. Of course, there's like not hookah.
Yeah, we're joking, guys.
Yeah, we're joking. Of course,
this is like this is what we do
in heaven. Or spades.
She looks very sad about that. Spades? You want to play? You can't even play spades.
Yeah, but if it's any time to learn how to play spades, it would be like in heaven. Like that. Like you're not going to judge me. I get judged here on earth not knowing how to play spades.
Yeah,
great. So if I'm gonna learn, I don't know.
You might want to learn before you get there. You're not getting on the table.
Ooh, what if you get like all the power, not powers, but like all the like talent you wanted when you were living, but in heaven?
Like you can sing?
Girl, you already know.
You want to be Tony Braxton so bad.
Right? I'm like, oh, now I know how to sing. So you know, and play piano.
We're just going to leave that one. Who was that supposed to be? What was that? Stevie Wonder? Yo, I cannot.
Stop, you're gonna make me cry. I only did that because he is a really good pianist. So I was trying to, inspiration. I wasn't making fun of his blindness, Anywho's. The alcohol is hitting.
We about to get sued.
Right.
This is her podcast.
Allegedly, Chitts and Giggles is a judgment-free zone, and you come. We are a come as you are podcast.
Come as you are.
Come as you are. Where all human beings are accepted, except for racist people and people who don't like Black people.
Those are racist people.
Yeah. People who don't like anything that we like. Well, no, not because then that would mean, no, okay, just forget it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm happy we were able to have this conversation because I do think that there's a really strong and serious need to repair the relationship that millennials have with God and make sure millennials understand the importance of having that relationship with God and how, like, people like myself, how, I said, well, I don't have time to pray, how prayer and God is in every day of your walk of life. You getting to work safely was through God. You getting that promotion was through God. Anything that you do, having food on the table is through God. And we don't, we don't realize that. And I think, me and Abby talked about a while ago, like, how do we make God cool again, right? Like, and when we say cool, we don't, obviously don't take it like literally, but to like the Generation Z, right? Everything is like cool, how to be cool, cool this, cool that. I don't know if people still say the word cool anymore, but it's like, how do you make God cool again? And, I do think, and I appreciate the fact that through accepting and what you're doing and talking about God, and, I've attended some of your accepted calls, and it really is like that outlet for you to be able to talk about what you're going through, or just ask questions, or just listen. And it's a judgment-free zone. And it's like, you're amongst your peers who are just like you. You're not amongst like, your elders who are going to judge you to say, yeah, you did what?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, yo, what do you do if like you ain't trying to forgive somebody? Like, I don't want to forgive. Like, that was a really good topic that we talked about.
And that's real.
Right. And it's real. And that's why, like, I appreciate that the work that you're doing. And I pray and hope that, what you're doing, and you're doing God's work at the end of the day, like, it grows to be bigger and better. I hope you're able to reach millions of people one day.
I will be able to reach.
Girl, I know that's right. Can you see yourself ever speaking the word of God? Like, in a sense of like being maybe like a pastor one day?
I don't see myself as a pastor, but if yeah, I feel like I would be able to speak to people, and
maybe like a Sarah Jakes. Is she?
Yeah, I love her. Like, no, well, I don't know, because I think her dad passed the torch to her. I don't know if that made her the pastor or not, but I actually love her and what she does.
Who's your favorite? Like, who's your favorite? Like, pastor nowadays?
I would say Michael Todd. And honestly, I know they're like, and just like when people, I know why you're making that guy. I know why you're making that face. But he really brought me to. Your face is saying it all. No, seriously.
Okay.
He brought me to like actual relationship with God. That's who I was listening to when I was like down and out, for real. And he says some, like, he is so real and authentic. It's like, it's inspiring. And also this pastor named Tim Ross, he actually has a podcast too, that I listen to a lot. And
Tim Ross, is he black?
Yeah. Okay. And then this other,
he's a white pastor.
I don't necessarily. There's like a pastor, Stephen Furtick, that I've listened to. He's pretty good. I don't necessarily like subscribe to like black or white pastors, but the ones that I do listen to are black. Michael Todd, Tim Ross, and then I also listen to older pastor Tony Evans when I actually want to like get deeper in like the word and understanding the word. He's better with helping me to understand that. And my pastor at Christ Church, I'm telling you, you got to come with me.
What's his name?
Lionel King.
Hey, dope. Lionel.
He's dope. He's like this guy from Newark,
okay.
Latin guy.
City.
And he's so like, you would leave there, you would laugh, you would understand, you would grow. It's just, and that's really what attracted me to that church, because like the way that he leads and speaks is like amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. Who do I listen to? Honestly, I do like Pastor Keon.
Yeah, he's good.
I've been in his church a couple times.
He's good. He's actually good.
Yeah. I do like Pastor. I relate to people who can like break stuff down where it like, I understand it. If you like talking too like deep for me, I'm like,
yeah. So the pastors that I mentioned, they break it down.
Yeah.
Except for Tony. Tony Evans is like an older guy, but his word is so good. But like I could send you some stuff.
Yeah, send me some
I'll
stuff.
send you some stuff.
Okay.
That is like real, like relevant.
Yeah.
To everyday stuff.
Yeah.
And it's dope. It's like finances, love, friendships, anger.
Yeah.
Depression, all like anything that you could think of.
Yeah.
Career.
Yeah.
Purpose.
Yeah. You know why sometimes church, I don't know about you. I always cry every time I go to church.
Really?
I don't know what it is. Last time I was at church and I went to Lighthouse with Pastor Keon, and I think I went to the North Campus, if I'm not mistaken. And they were talking about some storm happening. And like the way they said that was like, it was like you're in the middle of a storm, and they were talking about a bird, some type of bird. I don't know. Let's say hummingbird, bluebird, I don't know, bird. And the focus was on the bird and how the bird was at peace in the middle of a storm. Like it's windy, it's raining, and 9 times out of 10, a storm is coming when you see birds flying. Was it flying north or
north?
North? Okay. A storm is coming when you see birds flying.
I think.
We see who didn't pay attention in class.
You asked me.
You should know.
You didn't know either.
Well, everybody I don't know.
I guess we both did.
Speak for yourself.
You did not know.
He was talking about like a bird, like the importance of keeping your peace in the middle of chaos and how important that is in the sense of like, you don't have to be a product of your environment because it was chaos around this bird and there's a storm, it's raining, it's dark clouds, they're gray, the sky is black, it's thunderstorms, it's lightning, it's, the tides are high, and this bird, and they had a picture of it. Obviously, I'm sure they like put some graphics together, but they had a picture of a bird just like sitting there peacefully, calm. And it's like, why do you think that bird is so calm when all the other birds are panicking and they're flying this way?
Yeah.
And it's because that bird knows and they believe and they know that regardless, even through this storm, they will be okay. And I was
That's
like,
a word.
I was in there like, oh my God.
That's a word.
Right. And I was like, this is great. And I'm like, oh my Lord. That's like what I love about church. Yeah. Like being able to get a word like that where
it carries you.
Right. And I'm able to like, and
apply
that
it.
Was so long ago. I think I went when I like kind of first moved to Houston.
I remember when you went.
Yeah. And that was so long ago. And I remember that. Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie. After church, I was in some traffic. It was a couple people I wanted to curse out, but I was like, I'm the bird, I'm the bird, I'm the bird, I'm the bird.
I'm the bird.
Give me peace. I wanted to honk my horn and be like,
You want to fly north.
Like, I'm the bird. And ever since then, I've been a bird. I'm not a bird, but
ever since then, I've been a bird.
It don't matter what I say, y'all. It don't matter what I say.
That was good. I like that. Right? That was good. Okay, bird.
It's giving pastor. Y'all like my church dress I put on for y'all today? It's giving a little boob, but just don't look.
Mustard seed color.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know if mustard seeds are that color. That's a good.
I mean, it's mustard.
I mean, they probably put stuff in it to make it that yellow, though.
Huh?
Like they can add like dye and like preservatives.
What is a mustard seed? What color is a mustard seed?
We should look it up.
We
did look it up. It's probably just a brown seed. Yes, it produces a mustard tree. The mustard tree is one of the biggest trees in the world from that little seed, which is really...
I'm scared to ask my next question on this podcast.
You want to ask me later or something?
We can just cut it out. That's not where mustard comes from, though. No, there's no way. Mustard is like man-made. Like mustard. The mustard like I put on the salmon earlier. That don't come from like a mustard tree.
I think so. Why would it be called mustard? That's a good question.
I think mustard comes from a mustard tree.
It's probably the seed, like pressed.
Like peanut butter. But peanuts is not a seed, it's a nut.
Yes.
God knows my heart. Anyway, y'all, I really hope y'all enjoyed this podcast and y'all enjoyed this episode of us talking about God, the Lord, my God.
Yes.
And I think what I really want the audience and the viewers to take away from this is that you can have your own relationship with God and you can have your own walk with God, and that's okay. Whatever relationship and walk you have, it's not for anyone else to judge or be judgmental of that, because it's very clear Abby has her own walk with God. I have my own walk with God. And what my walk is and her walk is, it works for us. And as Abby said, all you need to have is you need to say the prayer from John chapter 3, verse 16. You need to have a mustard seed of faith, and you need to get baptized to get into heaven. So
you don't need to get correction. Her notes is wrong, but you don't need to get baptized to go into heaven. You do have to say the prayer to be saved. Baptism does not get you into heaven.
Okay. Yeah. So 1 through 2 you have to do. But, if you listening and you a Chitts and Giggles viewer, you going to get into heaven, child. I let God know to let you in, but just make sure you're living right. Because if I'm vouching for you and I put you down as a referral, I don't want to, I don't want my access revoked. So
he was like, this one will gas me.
Oh, God. He was like, next. Child, no. Okay. So before we close this podcast episode out, can we sing a church song?
What you want to sing? Do you know any church songs?
I don't know. Which ones I know? Okay. I know.
You know Jesus Loves Me? Jesus loves me. This I know. What the Bible tells me. That's like a little kid joint.
Yeah,
it's like a
Why I gotta get the little kid song?
I don't know.
Okay, let's get
what do you want to
sing? Father, can you hear me? Oh, that's an Uber song. I need some love today. Right? Isn't that a song?
I need your love today.
Oh, I need your love today. No, I don't know all the words.
Father, please hear us, and we will be okay. He was the crackhead. Father, we need you.
You see how she treat me, bro?
She'll be the crackhead in that movie.
Why I gotta be a crackhead?
The crackhead was a singer. She could sing.
But why do I have to be the crackhead?
You just got crackhead behavior. Activities.
It be your old friend.
I love you though. You just
he's like, I love your little crackhead self. Like, you just called me, I got crackhead behavior. Come on, okay, wait.
That?
I do. Exactly. I really do have crackhead behavior. I can't even lie. I do. What's a good song? Come on.
Rain down on me.
Okay, come on. Let's start from the beginning.
Rain. That was supposed to be your part.
Oh, okay, wait. Are we starting from the beginning? Okay, tell me where I come in.
That's a long song. Do you want to sing the chorus?
What's the chorus?
The Rain Down on Me.
Okay. What's my part?
Whatever you want it to be. You can sing with me.
Okay. Abby's the singer.
No.
Yeah, Abby can sing. I
can hold a note.
I'm the Michelle in the group, unfortunately.
Wow, she admitted it. On camera.
It's
growth. Cheers to Michelle.
Cheers to that.
Michelle was good.
I'm the Michelle. Okay, let me be clear. I'm the Michelle in the group that can't sing. But Michelle can't dance. She has no coordination.
Michelle, don't sleep on Michelle.
From the ground, like,
first of all, don't sleep. Michelle was still a part of Grammy award-winning Destiny's Child.
Actually, I take that back. I'm Kelly,
and she is actually a woman of God. She is actually out here in these
Kelly
streets.
Is too. But she should have been praying to God, asking for some singing lessons.
You shady.
I'm just saying, this is Chitts and Giggles.
Shady.
Okay, so we singing. Okay,
we should sing a different song.
Okay, why I'm clapping like I'm offbeat, like white person? I know. Child, they gonna judge me. Come on, what song we singing?
You get the church clap. What should we sing? A Kurt Franklin song?
I don't know. Like, I guess a popular song. Make me over again.
That's Yaz's favorite gospel song.
I
Lord, I
know.
need you to wrap your arms around me.
As I'm in bed.
Under her blanket.
Right. Oh,
tell me
wait. God is
everything's
his
gonna be
blanket.
alright.
Okay. And next thing you know, I'm asleep.
You like, wake up like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you for another day.
Okay. Child, come on. Let's just sing Rain. That's the song we know.
Okay.
Okay. What's
You
your part?
start it. I feel like it would just be better if you started. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Rain. Rain. Hey, down on me.
Rain down on me.
Rain on me.
Rain down on me.
Rain.
Oh, I'm sorry. Rain. We can't both do rain.
I know.
Okay, so when do your part come in? Yo, we are messing this all up.
We
This
couldn't.
butchered.
I don't know if Yaz.
If getting into heaven was determined on how we sing this song,
we don't work well together though. Like, remember all the sorry. Remember all the projects we've done together?
How are you my best friend and you say that? We don't work well together. That is
like
crazy.
that. Not like that. I mean, like when we try to do like
something together.
Yeah, projects or like anything that's like structured.
It's like a bicker back.
It's like we just don't. You just do your part and I'm do mine.
He's like, why you doing my part? We was arguing on the phone when we were singing. I got upset because she kept singing my part. I'm like, bro, sing your own part. Why are you singing my part?
What part? You didn't even say if there was a part or not. Rain
down on me.
And fall on me.
Rain down on me.
Rain. You got to go higher now.
Rain. Down on me. Okay. Rain down on me. And fall on me. Rain down on me. Rain.
Rain. Ooh. Rain down on me. Okay. See Tony Braxton now.
Break my heart.
Yeah. Don't
say you love me. Wait, what is it?
Don't leave me in all this pain. I gotta teach you. That's so sad. You know, Tony Braxton is one of my favorite singers ever. Sorry. I went to a Tony Braxton concert and got my whole entire life. I drug my brother with me. He was like,
no.
Why am I here?
I hope y'all loved our concert. At the end of this episode, do not judge us if we sounded crazy or if I sounded crazy. Yeah, we butchered. Hopefully, I pray to
Kirk
God.
Franklin.
Well, I hope Kirk Franklin
Kirk.
sees this, but don't judge me if you see this because I just...
So sorry, Kirk.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, brother. Man of God.
We should have sang Stomp.
Stomp! I don't even know how Stomp goes. How does that go? Stomp. I just know Stomp.
You making me blank on it. For those of y'all that think that gospel music has gone too far, we think we've got a little radical with our music. That's how he starts.
Okay. And then what's the song part? Oh, I'm going to do the beat.
Is that the grinding beat? Nah, that's not it. Lunch tables was going crazy. Yeah.
It's a no.
Stop
They're voting. Like, it's a no.
Lately, I've been going through some things that's really got me down. Hey,
stop.
Put your hands together.
Hey, put your hands together.
I need somebody to help me come and turn my life around.
Hey,
put your hands together. You know the rest?
No.
I can't explain it.
Hey,
I can't obtain it.
Hey,
Jesus, your love is so... It's so amazing.
Hey,
It gets
me high,
hey, up to the
sky.
And when I think about your goodness, ready, it makes me wanna stomp.
Hey, yes, friend, I love that. We did that. We did that. Record coming out soon. Record deal. Let them know. Gospel group. It's called
Pray
Mustard
for
Seed
us.
of Faith.
Yo, let Mustard Seed go.
Oh! All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like we said, this was a great episode talking about God and millennials. Abby, let them know where they can follow you and Accepted again.
Miss_Abigail M on Instagram. Miss_Abigail M as in Martin.
All right. Bye, guys. Thank you. I'm going to pray for you. If you're watching this,
I'm praying
her. For you. All right. God is watching. I am too. Bye, guys.
Bye.
When I paint the town, only blue sheets. When they pay me now, I treat it setback like a step back. Wave. I got the game in a vice grip. Way up when the fire's clear. All my niggas on the flight list.